and he writes a lot about societies. Sociologist, of course, writes about sociology, but he's author of many very influential books on sociology. He's from the Netherlands. And
he's Dutch?
yes, he writes about cultural dimensions. I believe he passed away recently, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Anyway, he writes a lot about individualism versus socialism. Actually, we immediately plunged into a video, but we are currently discussing your book about Japanese culture, and your book starts with a description of collectivism in Japan. Yeah. And collectivism in Japan, but in order to understand the impact of collectivism, we also need to understand the individualism in Western societies and why this is so very important, because they are really two ends of a scale, and Japanese culture is very much at the collectivist end of the scale, whereas Western society, especially the United States, but also a lot of European countries like the Netherlands, they are on the far end of the individualistic scales, and that has big consequences. So one of a few examples that Hofstede mentions, that based on very extensive research, Hofstede actually he created a theory, but based on his theory he was able to quantify differences in society, and a lot of sociologists have actually followed in his footsteps by actually performing quantitative research in order to substantiate and quantify cultural differences. And so basically it's not just based on hunches and ideas, but this is actually these are things that are derived from extensive research. So what he found based on his theories and quantitative research that came after that was that of course individual societies have loose ties. It's everybody for himself. It's more confrontational. Confrontation is seen as a healthy process in getting to mutual understanding. It's individualist countries tend to be more wealthy, but as he mentions, usually individualism is actually followed by an increase in wealth. So the wealthier people get, the more individualistic they become. And I think that is kind of intuitively true if we look at, for example, what's happening with desecularization. But basically what you see is that as the income of countries grows, their religious beliefs tend to become less and less important, and they're more and more focused on their immediate self-being, because they feel that they're in control of their life. They feel that they're fine without, and they're not seeking for support, outside support. So people who are wealthier, they're less reliant on Christianity or any religious belief, and they are less reliant on their society. So it's probably wealth comes first, and then people become more and more individualistic. Another thing that he found is that there is more press freedom in individualistic countries. There's more focus on human rights. Very interestingly, UN has the Declaration of Human Rights, but that declaration was written by inhabitants from individualistic countries, not from collectivist countries. So we can see that basically the global rules are basically written by the people who represent these individualistic societies, who believe that I am at the center of the universe, and not the society as a whole as being in the center of the universe. Not surprisingly, higher divorce rates in individualistic societies, very interesting. They walk faster. People in individualistic societies tend to walk faster than people in collectivist societies. And I must say, I noticed that. I think that people in Japan always, they walk so slowly, and things go so slowly when you look outside. Even traffic is much slower in Japan than it is in the Netherlands. People bike faster, drive faster, walk faster. Everybody is basically pursuing his own interest and is less concerned about what's happening around him. He's more concerned about meeting his meeting on time, being at his meeting on time, than the safety of others, perhaps. Another interesting part is that in English language, I is written with a capital. The only language in the world that has I with a capital. But in other languages, like Japanese, people hardly even use I. We don't say watashi actually. Kids maybe use it, but adults are deemed not to use watashi. And there is less power distance in individualistic societies. In collectivist societies, like the Japanese societies, there is a stronger role for tribes. People use social media much more, not to debate, but to find confirmation in what others' ideas are, to kind of feel the waters as to what the group is thinking. It's a high context society. That's not a surprise. It's much more focused on harmony. Basically, it is deemed as people who are arguing within a collectivist society. They are at risk of jeopardizing the harmony, and people who cannot read the air, they could easily weaken the strength of the group, and thereby weaken the core essence of their beings. So there is a big difference between people who are in a who are born and raised in a collective society versus people who are born and raised in an individualistic society. The world looks really different, and I was really stunned by Japanese society, and I think most people who visit Japan, who are exposed to Japanese culture, they really don't get it. And why is everybody so well behaved? Why do people get in line? Why are things the way they are? And I think really a very basic understanding of the differences between individualism and collectivism is a very good explanation of these differences. So the mindset, the view of the world changes radically based on where you were born. There was a lot of things that I never questioned before I came to Japan that I thought were universally true, but they're actually not. And I'm sure the same thing is true for people who were born in Japan.
So Japanese people, they cannot speak out who they are. And especially cooperate with Asian people in the history, doing together.
Right. Well, it's not so important who you are. It's important who we are.
Right? That means, yes, you want to say?
Yeah, I feel strange.
Okay, why?
I feel strange. I mean, I think I could say the Japanese are the collectivism, but also I feel I can say Japanese are not collectivism. So somehow, sometimes we act individually too much. Like we are not living as extended family, no more extended family, especially in Tokyo.
Right.
And we are just living with the nuclear family. And then for me too, I don't know what kind of the family is living next to our room.
Right.
And yeah, basically we don't care who are living next to us.
Right. But
And then